Hello, my darlings. It's phonics time, so pop those phonics hats on. Yep, that's right. They're still fitting okay. Whoop, yeah, okay. Right, so today we are going to start off by looking at some of the Phase 5 tricky words, okay? Now, don't worry if you don't know all of these yet. Some of them might be new to you, in which case they are new words to learn, which is absolutely fine because we are all about the learning. Because learning is super. Okay then, right, so let's start with the first one. The first one is oh, as in, oh my goodness, that is a bit of a shock. Or, oh, I did not know that. So that is spelt like this. It's a very short word, oh. So say that out loud as you write it down. So, oh. Right, okay. Now we've got Mr. and Mrs. are the next two, okay? Now they are tricky. Unlike Miss, which is another, these are titles, people's titles, how they choose to be addressed when they are grown-ups, okay? So Miss, M-I-S, Miss, like I'm Miss Lindsley, okay? You can sound that one out. You can use your phonics. But Mr. and Mrs., okay, you can't use your phonics to work that out. You just have to learn it, okay? So Mr., so you always use capitals for these, for Miss, Mr., Mrs., and Ms. That's another one, okay? Or Ms looks like that, okay? Ms, Ms. You can almost sound that one out. So Mr., Mr. Can't sound this one out. You have to learn it, okay? Capital M, little r, Mr. And then Mrs. looks like that, okay? So if we look at the list of titles, just so that we know them all, we've got Miss, obviously that's my favourite one because that's mine. We've got Miss, we've got Ms, we've got Mr, we've got Mrs, there's even one called which has a MX these days, and then you've got Doctor, of course, which is another title that people can have. Okay, so Miss is usually used by women if they're not married. Ms is used by women if they just choose that they don't want their title to show whether they're married or not. Mr is used by men. Mrs is used by women to show that they are married. MX is another one. It's a bit like Ms. Again, it's to show that you don't want to particularly say one way or the other whether you're married or not. And that one can, in theory, be used by both men and women. And Doctor is one that you have to earn by doing lots and lots of qualifications. Okay, so because you have to become a doctor, and you can become a doctor like the kind of doctor that you'd meet at the doctor's surgery or in hospital, but you can also become a doctor by being extremely knowledgeable in a particular subject. Okay, when you're older, if you study a lot, you can become a doctor about like a particular topic. Okay, so we had a little bit of extra information there, but as we were doing those, I thought we'd have a little bit of extra learning in there. So, Mr. and Mrs. And then let's look at our next one. Our next one is could. So, could you please shut the door? Could. Could. Could you please shut the door? Could you please pass my pencil? Could you please say please? Okay, so could. Practice writing it down, practice saying it out loud. The next one is called. I called you yesterday. Miss Kadian called me earlier. Called. I called you. And asked. I asked you to play with me. Asked you. I asked you. The next one is people. People. There are lots of people in the shop. People. I hope there aren't lots of people in the shop because there shouldn't be at the moment, but sometimes there are. People. Next one is looked. I looked. I'm just going to move these up to make a little bit more room. I looked for a book. Looked. Looked. And the last one is there. Okay, now this is the there that means it belongs to somebody. So not look over there, okay? That is spelt like this. So over there I can see a box, okay? It's spelt like that. But this one, this tricky one that we're thinking about today is it is their coat. It is their bag and it is spelt like this. Okay, like that. So sometimes you just have to remember that there are quite a few words out there which can be a little bit confusing because you say them the same way, but they are spelt differently and have different meanings. Okay, so make sure you've got all of those down, spelt beautifully, of course, and that you have practiced saying them out loud. Okay, right, fantastic, good job. I'm going to clean the board. My goodness, this was a good purchase, this board. Right, now today we are going to learn about a homograph. Now, a homograph is another big word, isn't it? My goodness, our heads are going to be so full of big words. It's when you have a word that is written the same, so it is spelt the same, but it is said differently and it has different meanings. So today's homograph looks like this. Okay, so this is the word. Now, this word can be said in two different ways. It can be bow, as in I take a bow, and there is also the bow of a, let's concentrate, there's also the bow of a boat as well, but that one doesn't come up so often. But so let's concentrate on I take a bow, and then we can also say bow. That's spelled the same way too. So this is the same word for bow, like a bow on a present. Okay, so bow and bow. They are both spelled like this, but they are two different words. They have totally different meanings, don't they? And we say them differently, but they are both spelled just like this. Okay, so sometimes if you're reading, you have to think about which word would make sense. Okay, you have to think about the context, whether it makes sense in the sentence. Okay, and if you're writing, you have to think very sensibly as well. Okay, so we are going to try writing this word in a sentence. We're going to use it in both ways. Okay, so our first sentence is going to be I take a bow. Okay, now if you just want a quick reminder, this is how you spell take. Okay, take. Okay, so now let's have a go at that sentence. So I take a bow. I take a bow. Bow. Okay, so let's look at that together. I, finger space, take, finger space, a, finger space, bow. And there we go, there is our word. Okay, homograph. I take a bow. And then you can all practice bowing as well. Right, now the next way we're going to use this word is in another sentence. And our next sentence is going to be, the box had a bow. The box had a bow. Try and write that one down. The box had a bow. Okay. The box had a bow. There's also a bow and arrow as well. Wow. This word can be used so many ways. How many ways can you think of it for it to be used? It's a little bit of an extra challenge for you. The box had a bow. Right. So the finger space. The ox. Finger space. Had. Finger space. I'm going to go on to the next line now. Bow. Full stop. Okay, so the box had a bow. I take a bow. There we go. Okay, so you can also have a bow and arrow. Okay, it's said the same way as a bow here, so it's not quite the same thing, but it is interesting that it can be used to mean a totally different thing, because a bow on a box is not the same thing as a bow and arrow, is it? And then we've got the bow of a boat is not the same thing as taking a bow, okay? But they are still said the same, okay? The important part of thinking about homograph is that they are spelt the same but said differently, okay? So we've got bow and we've got bow. Spelt the same, said differently. So you can practice those. Well done. So that is something for you to wrap your heads around today in phonics. My goodness, so much to learn. Well done. So practice those phase 5 tricky words, okay? And practice bow and bow and see how you can use them in sentences, okay? See how often you use them in your spoken sentences and see how often you can practice using them in your written sentences as well. Good work today, my darlings. Give yourself a pat on the back and enjoy the rest of your learning today.